Hi, pardon, got disconnected. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Wait up. Let's begin. No worries. Should we invest in Twitter? This is the chart of Twitter for the last 7 years, 2014 to 2021. It never broke above $80, actually $75. In this year, there is seeming to be a strong uptrend from 25 to 80. What contributed to that 300% increase for last year? And should we invest on Twitter, seeing that can it hit 50 from $50 or $60 today to as much as $500 in the next 10 years? Let's begin. 2 years or 3 years, but let's see whether you'd like this company. Twitter right now, from a technical standpoint, has supports at $57 and $50. You'll notice that strong uptrend following their earnings formats. And so far, it has been steady above $57 so far. So as you can remember, Twitter was set up by Jack Dorsey in 2006. And actually, this was his very first tweet. And it actually went minted via an NFT, selling for $2.9 million. So Jack Dorsey gestures with interacting with students. Of course, this was 2018. Just like important historical moments, if you wonder why that tweet was actually minted and sold for $2.9 million, do remember that the entire community of NFT or crypto remembers important dates. If you remember the special May 22, 2010, it is now known worldwide as a Bitcoin Pizza Day, because this was the day when Laszlo, a Bitcoin trader, sold 10,000 Bitcoins for a piece of pizza. Take note, though, that he isn't lost. He was just doing it as an affirmation that Bitcoin could be spent. And of course, that 10,000 Bitcoin would be seen as the most expensive pizza. Don't worry, because Laszlo has more than 10,000 Bitcoins. He is a whale. So the gist right now that I will discuss is that today, advertisers are willing to shift more and more towards Twitter. And if you will notice, the entire crypto NFTs is on Twitter. There is a strong usage growth. Some people even open just Twitter and Discord for NFTs and crypto only. That is very great for advertisers. There are new audiences, new crowds, and pre-rolling the NFT verification. We will also know that advertisers can target you better and see who are the really rich people based on their shared crypto collectibles if they ever wish to share their Bored Apes Yacht Club and really verify that they are the true owner of that Bored Apes. It's also the stuff on AI, Bitcoin Lightning tipping network that will also promote creator economies, strong brand presences that could be leveraged via AI and e-commerce. The companies could target better ad outcomes. You will also be using Twitter ads, even as a small and medium user. And tips for creators. Ad engagements will increase, and so will direct e-commerce business integrations. We know that in Twitter, Elon Musk is the real Elon Musk. Just put the Twitter verification there. Shaq is the real Shaq. Super follows the best tweets. Will have cross-border Bitcoin payments. Amazing things are happening inside Twitter. And so the gist of my topic, if you're not finishing this 1 hour tutorial, 1 hour deep dive on Twitter, is that this is the place to be. This is where your money is going to be growing. Advertisers, the crowd, even as a stockholder. In my view, this is a buy at $57 to $50. I will discuss the long-term reasons for owning Twitter. So the long-term reason, in my view, it is a private social media with verified accounts, premium content, and this is not worth a $50 billion market cap, which it is today. You as a creator can monetize your following via tip jars with the BTC Lightning networks. This isn't a small thing. Twitter Spaces is also gaining traction. That is the Clubhouse copycat. It is more or less the social media getting results and real-time interaction very fast. This is the gist. It's a buy. Sure, it could fall short term. But in my view, if you are holding Square and Twitter, you are actually in very capable, good hands. And you've got a CEO, Jack Dorsey. So just keep on stacking and staking. What's happening to Twitter Spaces? It's getting traction. It's doubling, and we haven't even seen the peak yet. It is a new product. It is more or less a social media where I do believe that you're in very capable hands. There is a reason why Donald Trump and crypto audiences chose Twitter. There's a reason why Twitter and Discord are being utilized. Easy, fast, very relevant, very real time. More power to individuals. As you could see, global currency is going to be integrated. People can freely trade their goods anywhere on the Bitcoin Lightning Network, anywhere on the planet. The Twitter ecosystem is going to be pardon. Okay, let me finish my train of thought. It's easy, it's fast, it's relevant, it's real time. You can freely trade goods anywhere. There's a reason why NFTs exploded on crypto Twitter, not anywhere else. Twitter 50, it is a loud claim, but it could be $500 over time. This will be a long-term awesome 10x, 10 times your money. We'll see 2030. If everything they say so far can be executed. Let's see whether Jack Dorsey is a great guy to be backed up on, but I think it's a yes. Tip jars, ticketed spaces, these are content creator economy similar to what Google right now has done. Do you know how much Google's revenue is in a year? In YouTube alone, it's about $40-50 billion, the entire market cap of Twitter today. Today, Twitter's market cap is $48 billion with a revenue in a year of $4 billion. If you think that 4 billion could someday hit 50 billion market sales, or let's say 20 billion sales, then the market cap today is so cheap not to invest upon. I'm talking about powerful networks. So yes, I was actually talking to someone, and so it was interests. The thing about Twitter is that you find people with the same interests. Twitter is about connecting people on information, news, real-time engagement to a certain event, an earthquake, a celebrity, an interview, a divorce about someone. That's what's trending. So it's talking to somebody. So I said to people, sometimes I do ape into projects. Ape in meaning I don't do my own research too well. But I have a tendency to research well the companies that I really like. I can sometimes even be conservative. So if you think the 10x claim is too wild, I don't know. I think I sometimes can be conservative in hindsight. Although I'll never know the future, and even if people will not properly pay for Twitter and Discord, this is not, in my view, a passing trend. Powerful social platforms have huge implications, to be honest. We're talking about just 350 million people on Twitter, which could become a billion users, why a billion? Think about this. The crypto wallets are 100 million and they want to go a billion. And that's being fueled by crypto gaming, gamify, by new DeFi users, new NFT holders. Celebrities are getting into the action, which will eventually add more crowds into it. You've got the NFL, the NBA Top Shots minting their NFTs. You're going to get more crowds into Twitter, not onto other social platform. So that 350 million user base could explode to about a billion. And you can understand the math just by a simple daily average user. To be honest, I do think that Jack Dorsey and some of them like Toby Lutke, even during the pandemic, were one of the best CEOs I've always got deep trust upon. They knew how to execute products very fast, and I could trust them. So I still think that even on the CEO management level, they're relatively undervalued by the world and by the market. IMHO, in my honest opinion. So I think that you're really in stable stocks. This is a very stable blue chip stock. Square, Twitter, Shopify, they fall, who cares? It's those types of stocks. I really won't know the short-term thinking. All I can tell you is that in crypto speak, they are legendary mythics. They're the mythics in this world. They may fall, but I believe they'll always hold their value over time. The secular trends on Twitter, privacy, users' data, you're seeing it in the NFT verification, no trolls allowed. E-commerce, Bitcoin Lightning Network tip jars, social audio with the Clubhouse. E-commerce, it ties up with the Bitcoin Lightning tip jar. Advertising, more advertising because of more users, more targeted ads. Content creator economies. Once you have the tip jars, the ticketed spaces, it means that there's premium content. If I'm a Twitter, I have, let's say, 1 million followers, which I don't have, but these people, you are seeing the seeds of what Google did with the Patreon. The Patreon economy, it is a content creator-led economy. And what's good is that it's real-time engagement. I don't need to wait a day for you to tell me something about a news. Let's take a look at the age profile as well. Twitter's audience is dominated by younger and middle-aged users. In fact, 57% of users are between 25 to 49. The complete breakdown, if you'll notice, it's all young. 87% are below 50 years old. In fact, 50 above is in the territory of Facebook. 50 above, go to Facebook. 50 below, go to Twitter and Discord. Okay. Here is the complete list of the reasons that people are using Twitter today as of 2020. The most important people go for Twitter for news because it's real-time feeds. It's better to watch real-time reporters rather than waiting for a day-old news. You get entertainment fast. You get to contact your friends and family fast, especially when there's a COVID vaccine problem, a COVID-19 problem, stay at home. People were connecting to people fast through Twitter messages. They follow brands fast, so real-time engagements. BTS meal of McDonald's started on Twitter. There's a reason for that because they wanted to get the BTS most highly engaged fans first to scatter it to the internet, and Twitter was the place. It wasn't YouTube. YouTube was the gradual after party. The central hub was Twitter. What people talk about, the BTS meal, the BTS meal, the BTS meal, became trending, which translated to the exact e-commerce consumption that generally McDonald's wanted to achieve, and it did on a worldwide scale. To strengthen the professional network, yes, because I don't care about your ethnicity or your picture. I don't really care about that. On Twitter, your ideas is the one that I care for. Ideas are greater than identity. Who cares if you're from Slovakia? No, nothing to say wrong about some locations. Like example, me. Nobody cares if I'm from the Philippines, but it's about the ideas that I generate on Twitter that I get interested people on FinTwit to follow me if they ever agree or disagree with my ideas. So it's really a place for ideas. Ideas are your identity. Doesn't matter about your picture. Other purposes. I don't know the other purposes, but nowadays, people use Twitter for their NFT projects to get known ASAP, to gather following, and it becomes a crowdfunding because NFTs are funding artists to create more, becoming artist guilds, becoming gaming studios. NFTs are right now getting hits on real estate fractionalization to back it up, and much more. So NFTs are also crowdfunding arenas. Twitter revenues by the year, it's just been growing for the last 10 years. From less than almost $100 million, it's now hitting closer to about 4 billion. It's going to hit $10 billion, could probably be 20 billion in the next 10 years. Take a look at the daily Twitter user growth. So you're seeing that we're hitting just 350 million users. And in my view, it barely It's not yet 500 million. It's not even a billion users. And just consider the crypto economy itself. That is a huge crowd that is using Twitter and Discord for that matter. That's why I'm saying that these social media apps were chosen for a reason. Easy, relevant, effective, and it's going to grow. If those people in the community grow, this will grow 100% average user growth again and again, which will make a virtuous cycle loop. More user growth means more advertisers want to be in. It's called the network effect. That's why Facebook became powerful. Years and years go by. As the years go by, it's just getting stronger. It makes you inevitably, in fact, for the people in the crypto NFT world, if you're not on Twitter, where are you? If you're not in Discord channels there, where are you? Look at the monthly average users in the millions. In fairness, as you know, there's what you call the FinTwit, finance Twitter. There's also what you call the FinTalk, which is finance TikTok. Well, there was never a term for FinTube, which is finance YouTube, but you could say that there are a lot, but it's not like significant, right? So either way, you know that there are a lot of people who are interested to talk about their ideas and they like to do it over at Twitter. And Twitter's user base since 2010, you could see 54, 100, 350. Some people might balk on that growth, meaning, wow, it's just 10, 20%, but the advertising revenue spending is growing 100%, which makes you actually think twice on how undervalued these user numbers are actually. That user base is a highly engaged user base. Twitter is most popular among users aged 25 to 34. In the US, 80% of the tweets will just come from top 10% of users. They are what we call the super follows. On average, Twitter users are spending at least 3 hours, or 2.5 hours, 160 minutes per month on the app. So people on Twitter aren't really spending hours and hours and hours na babad. They're just fast look, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. But that could grow if they are actively engaged and using Twitter for more things. If they are creating content inside and not just sharing a picture or a feed of a news, it's gonna change over time. Let's see the content creator happening. This is a recent second quarter discussion between JP Morgan Chase Douglas Amuth and the CFO of Twitter. I'm gonna highlight you a few things. The question is, Twitter went through a lot of changes in the last 12 to 18 months. How has the company evolved internally, operationally, and just really tell us the business overall benefit? He says here a very good answer. We started out that Twitter is about what is happening, what are people talking about right now, real time, because people come to Twitter to stay informed, to discuss what matters, and to inform others. So those are important critical things: news, information, ideas. Advertisers who want to tell the people what's happening now would launch their new products and services in Twitter. That's why McDonald's chose Twitter first. That clarity, which Jack really brought back into the company when he came back as CEO in 2015, really helped us a ton to simplify the most important work, which is real-time engagement. We are investing more aggressively, and as a result, you are seeing shipping development faster than ever on the revenue product side. And what is this? Right now on Twitter, making decisions faster to empower engineers. We rebuilt the platform for serving ads, which follows and allows more people to do so much more at the same time on newer technology. If you were really selling something online, let's say you are a crypto NFT project and you wanted more people to see you, you could really use Twitter ads, or right now what people are doing is Twitter invites. They're giving a competition such that people on Twitter will scatter it and tag it to their friends. In a way, growth hacking that momentum so that they could easily achieve 10,000, 100,000 followers to see their project amongst the 10,000 other projects that are getting launched on the same day, on the same platform, on the same month, on the same year. So as you could see, it is a very effective advertising fast platform, and crypto Twitter knows that first. And advertisers are also seeing that. The numbers don't lie. The increase in engagement tells you that it is effective. When people like something, a product, may it be an artwork or just really a real sneaker, a physical thing, people who are interested become buyers. Interest talked about equals a real purchase. So that allows more small and medium enterprise projects to actually utilize Twitter for advertisements. It's not just the big companies. So right now, they're saying that although their sales is 4 billion, their target or goal is a doubling to about $7.5 billion of revenue in 2023 and about $315 million average monthly daily active users in the fourth quarter of 2023. So monetizable. So what this means is monetizable daily active user, that the people who are in are really getting monetized. And why not? If you understand the content creator economy made by Google, YouTube gaming, for instance, you can engage long-form content, long-form videos if you are part of the Twitter Premium, which is the Super Follows Club. They'll be rolling it out. Let's see. What are the revenues for Spaces, for Review, for Super Followers? Let's take a look at these new products. Along with our ads business, which is 85% of revenue today. So think about Google advertising sample. So right now, that's the revenue prior to YouTube until YouTube went ballistic. Content creator economies, wherein they share a portion of advertising to content creators, which made creators create more and more content, and so forth. We want to make sure that we have a durable business, not just for our benefit, but also for the people who are using the service. So you are making money using Twitter, monetizing your Twitter followers. How does it work? Subscription. Just like content subscription in YouTube, same thing. Two types of subscription. There's a Twitter premium service. For people who use the service, they pay us for it. And then ultimately roll it out to people all around the world. And I would say that they will use the Bitcoin Lightning Network for this payment stream. We'll look to provide premium features, tip jars, a continuous improvement mindset around the free version of the service that everybody will continue to have access to. The second kind of subscription is what we describe as super follows. This is where a person on Twitter could give their followers just access to premium content. So I could have followers, but I could have super follows. So you'll have two types of following in Twitter. Your random followers and your highly engaged followers. It could be long form. So it's gonna be short form, really impactful in another way or another. So it's like TikTok or YouTube, whatever you want. Short form, long form, it's your choice. We have to create, of course, a super following, an entertainer who might find their audience on Twitter because of extensive network of followers, access for premium experiences. It's really meant for the super fans, right? So I think that's what OnlyFans wanted, but OnlyFans adult, sexually explicit version. This is the wholesome version. The way we think about it, we want as much of the value as possible to accrue to the creator. Therefore, we're really going to facilitate that transaction. Twitter might be the gateway to something longer, somebody's written work. It could be a research report. It could be a newsletter service, a publication about sports, something else. It's an opportunity to share and get paid. Right now, you're seeing people who have a Substack use Twitter to be the link to follow their Substack, which is also fine. Twitter also wins. You don't need to create your long-form content on Twitter. You just use Twitter as a gateway drug to enter your Substack, which is really a better form right now of medium.com. It is an iteration to allow the writers to monetize their long-form content. So more broadly speaking, Twitter is allowing you to access the very best content through Twitter. So let's see more, no? Okay, Twitter is a compelling platform for audio, a long-form content, a creator economy, which are perhaps billions of people and not just 350 million, how do you feel that Twitter is able to fill this kind of role? So let's see more roles. There are a lot of apps, websites. You can go put up your picture, video, make a live chat, but these are people that you don't know. And so the key differentiator here is how one would weave them together. How would one introduce people to the content relevant to them? So the way we think about it is Twitter is where you go to find out what is happening in the world, what people are talking about. If people are talking about Bitcoin, you get your community. If people are talking about the Oscars, the Grammys, that's your community. So it could be that they are talking about an NFL draft. That is another topic that is either super niche or super broad. You may not know the people, but you want to join the conversation. You can tweet about it. Otherwise, you're just listening and you can. So that is probably the different use case versus the other services. And if you just extend Spaces, it's all coming back to helping people stay informed, discuss what matters, and inform others. So I do think social audio is very good. That's why it's not wrong that Spotify wanted to enter the social audio space. But I believe copying Clubhouse is more for Twitter to dominate. Clubhouse was first, but it might not be the last and it might not be the number one. It's possible that although Twitter Spaces is relatively new, this could become big over time. Let's talk about the MDAUs or the monetizable daily average users. You're saying that you're going to grow 20% CAGR until the next 4 years. How are we going to get there? Let's talk about the two levers for this growth. The first is the events happening around the world that forces people to bring them to Twitter. So example, the NFT phenomenon brought people towards Twitter. That's one. A sporting event like Tokyo Olympics brought people to Twitter to say and get updated what's happening in the Philippines, Hidilyn Diaz. Like we're talking about the Miss Universe, we're still talking about it on Twitter. We're talking about some celebrity, I don't know, whatever you want to say, but you find it on Twitter. Chismisan, it's in Twitter. Gossiping, whatever. So finding out what experts have to say about COVID vaccine, where do you go? Some people go to YouTube, some people go to Twitter because it's fast. So the other types of events are unplanned. COVID-19, of course, was never planned for, but people came to Twitter to talk more about that important topic. So whatever it is, you are getting to introduce people into the conversation. So that's why we work so hard every day to improve that home timeline, to insert topics, to onboard people, to benefit from 7,000 and growing number of topics that we have. So you can see as a Twitter user, there is what they call the interests, right? So do you want to follow people talking about Ethereum or Solana? The best way, instead of going to Google, follow the people talking intently about it. They're not publishing articles on Medium. They're publishing tweets onto their Twitter feeds, right? So that's one. So it's a search method. The topics that you care about the most. Twitter, for instance. We're talking about Twitter stock. I could share this so that anyone who wants to learn about Twitter, I'll just go $Twitter and FinTwit finds everything about Twitter in that single hashtag. Well, the thing about FinTwit is we don't use hashtags. We use the $sign, which means that we are talking about Twitter, the stock, not necessarily Twitter Spaces or, we could talk about the Twitter product, but really Twitter, the stock. So Spaces communities giving the person who's tweeting more control over who responds to their tweets. They've done that. There are terrific examples. So these things will go hand in hand. Product improvements. Okay, so in the last few years, let's talk about how you've given some color, retention, intensity, user engagement. Black Lives Matter was a talked about topic in 2020, actually. So Twitter was also used in that revolution or that movement. So it's been consistent how top of the funnel has been, continues to evolve graphically from one season to another. But we get a lot of opportunities how Twitter is being used than the last time they were there. So we want to give people a great experience so that it becomes their daily ritual. The topics will evolve day by day. There are different people. So topics change, right? Trending. So let's talk about revenue then. Can you talk about brand advertisers? How have they been? So here's the answer. Brand advertisers usually come back from the holidays planning their budgets for the year, where they want to show up, how they want to show up. That means things can get off pretty slow on the brand side. The typical trend gets exacerbated in US on the Capitol riots, the inauguration, the politics through January, events like the Grammys, the Oscars. So in a way, the advertisers always have to launch a product based on a certain opportunity. Christmas, Halloween, COVID-19, I don't know, like the reopening of the economy of the world. So brands have to choose which events they want to be in. These are the important parts. This, I think, is the game changer. For Facebook, it was critical that small businesses were able to find the customers that was relevant for their business. So for Twitter, we are making it easier for small business to find their customers, make it relevant, compelling, easy to set up a campaign on Twitter so that it's business for them. It's not just talking and talking. There's meaningful fruits for the labor of talking about a certain topic. In my case, stocks. For other people, it's cryptos and NFTs. Or for that matter, in fairness, I talk about anything that I find relevant in the realm of making money. So another thing would be that we are mentioning would be the DR roadmap. This MAP is just part of the DR roadmap. What's this? Okay, let's balance out that 85-15. 85% right now is advertising, and they want to change that, right? 85-15, we'll see whether it's becoming 50-50, wherein they rely on other sources of revenue rather than simply advertising. So let's talk about that. Think about the selling point of digital advertising. Twitter says there's about $150 billion of that, and we really think that's our TAM, or total addressable market, for Twitter. It grows because it's not linear. People will advertise, quantify that. DR will be an important lever for us. We could go to 50-50. Improving your existing products, we want to build on top of that. We come to appreciate that people do a lot of research on Twitter before they buy something. So they want to hear what experts have to say about a phone, about a pair of shoes, about a coffee mug. And there are many who wants to make a for the moment decision about the topic or event that we're involved in. So it could be a Super Bowl event, an NFL event, where people would bet whatever they see on Twitter. That's possible too. So highlights. Have their efforts been materializing on the numbers? Yes. The Q2 2021 was an up 74%, showing that advertisers were really spending more over at Twitter. And this is true across all geographies, not just in US. We're also seeing better than expected profitability with operating income of $30 million, a margin of 3%, because they're solving a lot into products. They spent $600 million in engineering with a lot of upgrading, development expenses, stock-based compensation expenses. Average monetizable DAU reached 206 million, up 11%. And up 7 million sequentially, driven by ongoing product improvements, global conversation around current events. Another great thing, revenue product improvements, a broad increase in advertising demand contributed to 87% year-over-year growth in ad revenues in Q2. That is a growing trend. So these are the numbers. 1.2 billion. Data licensing is just 15%, so that's still small. We'll see whether they can increase that, the balance. Data licensing and other revenue. This is the advertising revenue. So they are now a little bit profitable. And then average monetizable DAUs. US is 37. A huge chunk is international. We have time. Okay, I'll be fast. Don't worry. These are just the numbers. So as you could see, GAAP income, total advertising revenue, that's an impressive growth. So it is a growth stock. Let's see. We focus on making Twitter the best place for people to keep up with and discuss their interests. In Q2, we launched over 2,500 new topics. People can now choose from more than 9,500 topics across 9 languages to stay up to date We also improve our ability to connect to the best conversations about their interests. Example, you want to understand the best NFT projects. How fast is it? Just go to Twitter. It's that easy. Leverage onboarding signals, introducing interactive feedback on topic tweets in your home timeline. As a result, 41% of new customers now follow topics during the sign up. In fact, they average 14 topics each. Based on the increased retention we are seeing, ongoing relevance, we believe that we are providing customers a more personalized timeline on Twitter, which leads to significantly higher retention. If I just want to listen about finance, about Square, I'll just follow those topics. And it's highly personalized. In fact, Twitter knows me so much just by seeing what I follow, the interests that I follow. Conversations ultimately are the core to the service of Twitter, because this is where real conversations are about what's happening. So we're working a way to drive these conversations to earn money. That's why that is the ticketed spaces and tip jar. And I think this is going to be big, and the super follows. Tipping allows people to pay for access to live audio experiences with ticketed spaces. It's like what I'm doing with Discord voice. If I want a real-time premium follow, super follow, then let's make a ticketed spaces, and only the ones who are part of the ticketed spaces can hear my view real-time when an event happens real-time too. Let's assume something new. Let's assume today COVID-19 vaccine happened. We're back in January 29, 2020, the Wuhan crisis. You could do a ticketed space there and talk about which stocks you want to sell and which stocks that you have to be prepared for if they fall down further. So those are happening real time. So ticketed spaces are gonna be more powerful. Sharp ship improvements, so strong improvements in Twitter Spaces. People who are utilizing Twitter Spaces are happy because it's on-demand video. It's not video, on-demand audio. So I don't have to have makeup. I could be in my pajamas and I just want to talk to people. That's why Clubhouse did very well. The social audio aspect. Initially, when people were telling me study Clubhouse, I was saying, maybe not. But when I was in Clubhouse, that's when I realized, yeah, it's powerful. But Clubhouse does not have average daily users. Twitter has. And so if you're going to ask me Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse, I'll go for Twitter Spaces because my followers are in Twitter, not in Clubhouse. Unless you're telling me Clubhouse has, 500 million users, that's when I'll grow my network there. So we continue to enhance the global conversation on Twitter with partnerships across entertainment, gaming. But that said, I'm not saying no to Clubhouse. I know that a lot of VCs, early adopters went to Clubhouse, obviously. And early adopter, the problem in building a business on an early adopter user base is that early adopter base is small comparative to the other social networks. So look at this. In Q2, we announced the Billboard Hot Trending powered by Twitter. This is a 5-year partnership with the WNBA, NBC Olympics programming. We partnered with NFL on a multi-year extension, bringing highlights on the game's biggest moments to Twitter. Touchdowns, leaping catches, incredible runs, celebrations, the kick off the Super Bowl. So this tip jar and ticketed spaces is just the tip of the iceberg, right? And these events know that it's the best to highlight that over on Twitter because all of these are real-time events. Olympics are event-driven. So look at this, the playable ads, you're seeing that, promoting your tweets, quick promote, and significant gains in age and location-based targeting for ads, smarter defaults for geographic ads, the launch of City, targeting our ads manager. We now have 175,000 new targetable city locations available. So a person in the Philippines may not want to target people abroad. They might just want to target the cities in Manila, etc. I don't know. So targetable city locations. So better ad performance equals if people know that what they spend upon has a direct relationship with their sales, it's fine because it's not an expense to them. It is a worthwhile sales revenue driver. So we are also providing better ways, commercial intent. So reaching for long-term small and medium business strategy. The reason why I like Twitter, Square, and Shopify is their focus on the small and medium businesses. Well, in fairness, that's also what Facebook, Instagram did. The small and medium businesses. It's not about the big corporates. It's about the smaller players. And with businesses, nonprofits, publishers, creator economy, it's gonna be a defining presence in terms of why go to Fiverr and why go to Upwork if you can just promote your authored works over on Twitter? I don't know, think about it also in that vein. Video continues to be an important focus area, so they're also meeting the needs of advertisers who want a 15-second video, higher completion rate. So really, it's becoming a little YouTube, right? Support app tracking transparency, ATT. We issued prompts, 200% of iOS. So it's like a little YouTube, a little TikTok in between. So there's a lot of those interesting mashups and development happening over in Twitter. And just think about it. How much is TikTok videos? I mean, I'm not saying that TikTok people are in Twitter. It's very different, right? But the capacity to grow because of just watching a video, because you're seeing that, hey, I want to know more. You're seeing more and more of that promotions on Twitter. Twitter Blue just got launched in Q2 in Canada and Australia. This is the first ever consumer subscription offering. Twitter Blue allows the most passionate, engaged accounts to pay for exclusive features and perks, complementing their existing Twitter experience. Organize bookmarks, undo a tweet before it goes live, reader modes. So imagine subscription feeds. You can watch your Wall Street Journal and read that subscription feeds over on Twitter. I prefer just a feed on Twitter rather than going to several websites, if you ask me. So key results, all of them are strong. Advertiser objectives, increasing momentum in brands, particularly in US. Launching new products made a connect, key verticals, fashion, auto, media, entertainment. The BTS meal was a success. So yeah, by sales channel, large to mid-tier customers also represented a sizable majority of advertising revenue. Ford in general, Ford turned to Twitter to sell and impress the F-150 Lightning, and it made 1 billion impressions, which translated to 150,000 pre-orders. It's like every 10 people that the ad had impressed, one person actually ordered an F-150 Lightning. That's how powerful Twitter was for Ford. And of course, you know how Elon Musk managed to sell Tesla everything, advertising only on Twitter. And it wasn't necessarily about Tesla, the stock. It was everything Tesla. It was what Tesla represented via the CEO himself, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the greater than greater personality across all of his companies. In fact, I heard a CEO said that it's impossible right now to be a company without Twitter presence because everyone wants real-time answers from the CEOs and CFOs when a news breaks. So especially in technology. And most tech are in Twitter. Data licensing, other revenue totaled. So yeah, this was still a small part. Advertising metrics grew, expenses also grew. Higher headcount, higher infrastructure, because they're trying to improve everything. Nonetheless, cash flows doubled. So you could see engagements increased, adjusted free cash flow, new products being rolled out. So from a net income perspective, it's 30 million, but actually they've been spending it well. They've been using their money, of course, to also buy back their stock. They had a repurchasing program, $330 million was already bought. So speaking from confidence of their own, yes, they are buying. Future quarters, it could actually change, but they have repurchased $750 million in 2021 alone. So year to date, that's a lot. That tells you the confidence of the management over their products and their company. So I like that. Outlook, we are executing very well. So as we enter the second half of the year, we have been increasing our headcounts, so more hires. More costs, of course, but we are growing 30% or more for the full year 2021 with a focus on more engineering and more products. So as you will expect, that would have higher rewards that we have to pay. So approximately $600 million was allocated by Twitter on stock-based compensation for all these extra headcount. So we are seeing revenue will grow faster. How much faster will depend on several roadmaps, macroeconomic factors. But for Q3 2021, we expect in this quarter, 1.22 and 1.3 billion. This will come out on October 26. We'll see whether they hit this or grow further. GAAP operating income is expected to be a loss of $50 million or break even. So for full year 2021, they are expending. So they're spending $600 million for all these hires, all these great engineers. CapEx would be between $900 and $950 million. So as you know, the biggest expense in every technology would be the salary of the engineers and developers. And this is also what's good. Twitter says Trump ban is permanent, even if he runs for office again. When you're removed, you are removed. The policies will not allow people to come back. And this is also a great thing. Notice how Twitter is offering sneak peeks behind their upcoming NFT integration designs. You can show with an NFT. So let's watch this video. This is Mada Aflac. Some people may have watched this. There's already 1.5 million viewers, but let's watch it again. 1 minute.
So basically you would be able to edit your profile, click on your avatar and select NFT. From this you would be able to connect to your wallets and choose your preferred wallet. So for the purpose of the experiment, I'm just mocking the backend. So after confirming, you will be able to download all your NFT from OpenSea. Select one, and then you will have your NFT as your avatar with the Ethereum check mark, showing that this NFT has been minted on Ethereum blockchain. If you click on collectible as well, you can see the collection of NFT you have. If you have any feedback or ID, please don't hesitate to share. Thank you.
So you'll notice, just because you have a picture, a picture does not signify that you own it. You have to see it in the Ethereum blockchain, and it can be signified and NFT verified. That means trolls cannot actually enter the market. If you aren't who you say you are, Twitter will ban you. So I'm seeing a privacy-focused social media. It's a decentralized social media. This is an example of Degen Apes. Degen Apes came about 5 Sol, now trading average 100 Sol. 20x the price in Sol, 200x, depending on how cheap your Sol is. Depends on how cheap your Sol is. Look at this. So apes are building. Weekly create contest. Sneak peeks, pet drop rumors, causing everyone to do some detective work in the Discord. Think of Degen Apes like the Basie of Solana. Holding one unlocks multiple benefits and future airdrops. These types of advertisements, Solana blue chips, how would people be engaging there? Nowhere else except Twitter. Twitter accelerated again with Bitcoin tips, the NFT craze, recorded spaces, creator funds, and more. Twitter executive shares a sneak peek of their NFT profile verification, users' avatars getting a check mark if it is really verified. So the head of consumer marketing shared it. You can connect your MetaMask, whatever wallets for your NFTs on the OpenSeas. Okay, the use of NFTs has skyrocketed on Twitter over the last 6 months. And so it is a system for verifying ownership, provenance, a valuable feature for Twitter to add. I could have a shared space or a ticketed space, and I could use an NFT to ensure that only the ones who have that NFT can enter the ticketed space, to ensure that there aren't anyone creating things just to enter the event. So despite Taylor's sharing of the video, it's worth noting that CEO Jack Dorsey has been a longtime supporter of Bitcoin. He hasn't expressed enthusiasm for Ethereum in the past. So Twitter jumps into the NFT conversation, starts accepting Bitcoin through tip jars. Twitter Spaces is a live audio conversation, early in the launch, but growing, testing, building. How do you use Spaces? You're a creator, you're a host, so you start a space. People are trying to earn money from live podcasts. And if you want to start your space on Spotify, they have it. Clubhouse, they have it. But an integration with the tip jar is really going to make ticketed spaces go up. Because as far as I know, I haven't heard Spotify allow a creator economy to be integrated immediately. I haven't also heard Clubhouse do this. I think this is an innovation only on Twitter for now. So a few things. First tweet was sent, so you know this already. Daily active Twitter users ranked 17 as of 2020, the most popular social media worldwide. It took 3 years, 2 months, 1 day for a billion total tweets. Twitter went public in 2013. At that time, 200 million users. You'd argue that the Twitter user base is low, but I'd say that it's also ramping up fast. Twitter is an opportunity to promote products to reach new users. The fact that it's 350 million users tell me that it has room to grow. Unlike talking about 5 billion user bases, if you add Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter has more leeway to grow simply because just add how many people will be a crypto NFT crowd. If you think there's going to be 200 million crypto NFT people, they're going to be on Twitter if they haven't been. So yun. That's really it for me. And I hope that I illuminated you. I know that my views are my own. I could be wrong. Things could change over time. But for more information, of course, this is what you could do. Go to investor.twitterrank.com, events and presentations. I think that the conversation between CFO Ned Siegel and JP Morgan Chase in this analyst conference is good. It's a tech conference. It's JP Morgan Global Technology, Media and Communications Virtual Conference held May 25, 2021. You can check out all the upcoming events. October 26 is their next earnings call, as I said. You can go to these, Twitter Analyst Day, Investor Resources. The thing I like about a company like Twitter is that they are innovating and they themselves don't know how huge is Twitter Spaces and ticketed spaces. They don't know how huge tip jars will be. And sometimes I'm happy to say it's the fact that we don't know how huge this creator economy, that it's wild. The only basis that we can now infer is how much is the creator economy of YouTube? How much is the creator economy of TikTok, right? And yet those two aren't even that strong yet because that's videos. How much can we unlock the power of those long form content? So it's an amazing time. I think that you want to check out Twitter for your investment portfolios. Thank you guys and have a good evening. Bye.